Alright friends, welcome back to another video on building multi-purpose Laravel and Livewire application. In this video, I'm going to show you how we can create reusable select2 component using Laravel, Livewire and JQuery. But before we start, let me give you the benefits of creating reusable components. While creating the reusable components, the main benefits are it saves lots of our time, and the second reason is it is easy to use. So let me show you that. What if we need this select2 component somewhere here in our applications, like with another field? How we can do that? Let me show you using components. We can simply do, we already have this component class select2. So let me copy this and then let me paste it over here. We can simply change this value to, let's say, others and ID to others as well. And if I refresh the page, and it is already working over here. See how easy it is to use. And if we create a new appointment, let me create that. Okay, and we are passing different values over here. We select time and date and click on save, and we have these values. Others have 1 item and then members have 3 items, right? Members have 3 items and others have 1 item. And if I refresh the page, and we can change the placeholders as well, we can change this level as well. For changing placeholders, we can simply do placeholder other options, right? If I change that, it got changed over here as well. And what if we need to use this same component in other area of applications? Like what if we need to use this select2 component in our profile page? So let's do that, how it will look. So let me go to profile page, create profile, live.php file, and over here we can simply copy this, and over here we can change this label, and for input we'll be using the component, right? So let me go back, copy this one and paste it over here, and we can change this as well, but let me keep that and refresh the page. And if I come over here, and it is already working. See how easy this is and how time saving this is. And on the previous video we spent almost around 15 minutes to build this functionality, right? But after creating the components, it's easy to use everywhere in our applications. And here we don't have to worry about select2 setup and then select2 initializations. It is just simply working. See how cool this is. So let's get started building such components. Okay, first of all, let's create a component file which is inside of resources, views, components. Let's create another folder called inputs, and inside of this folder let's create another file called select2.blade.php. okay, and inside this file let's create a view. Let's display here, and let's go to create appointment from.blade.php file, and let me go over here and let me copy this part. Paste it over here, and instead of this one we'll be using the components. And to use the component we can simply do X, and the name of the folder is inputs dot, the file name is select2, and then we can close this. Okay, and if I refresh the page, and you will see it is displayed over here, right? So first of all, let me remove everything from here, right? And let me move it to select2, and then paste it over here. Okay, now let me go back to create a appointment from, and let me refresh the page, and you see that input, right? But it will not actually work. Let me show you. Let me go to create appointment form component class, and over here let's do die and dump this state. Okay, we'll press it. Let me select this one, select that time and save it. If we save, and here we got the one attributes called members and with these items, right? And if we go to create appointment form, we are just using the same one, right? We need to make this reusable so that we can reuse in multiple places with multiple options, with different options, right? So let me go back to select2, and over here we'll not be using the options in our component because we'll be passing while using the components, right? So for that we can receive those options using slot. Now let me go to create appointment form, and inside of here we can simply pass these options, right? Now let me place this to 1. Now if we go back over here and we see that options, right? Okay, and let me go to the top, and we need to change this placeholder as well because we don't want to see like select a state, right? So we need to pass that placeholder from here. Let's make that possible. So let's do place holder equals to, let's say, select options, right? If I go back, we don't see that placeholders, right? So let's fix that. Let me go to component, and over here we are just writing select a state. So instead of writing that, let's make this dynamic. So we'll be receiving the props as placeholder, and by default let's make this as select options, right? And then over here we can use that placeholder variable using placeholder. Now if I refresh the page, you will see that different options, different placeholder, right? But this is the default placeholder as select options. We can change that while passing that placeholder. Let's say select these options, then we will get select these options. But if we do not pass placeholder attribute, then we will see select options as default, right? Which is fine. Now the another step is to initialize select2 on this select element. Currently we are using class called select2, and on the bottom we are initializing that, right, with this code. So let me cut this code from here, and then let me go out to select2 component, and let me paste that, and we can push this script to the tab, to the stack called JS, right, and then and push. Now let me refresh it, and it is still fine. Okay, fine, but here we are using class as select2, and it will not work for multiple select2 on the same page because we are using the same class name and we are initializing this with on the same class name, right? So instead of using class, let's use id. So let's do id, and let's receive the id as props using id over here, and we don't need to pass the default value. And over here we can use that id using id, and for selecting the id we need to do hash and then id, right? And if I refresh the page, it will not work because it is an undefined variable id, so we need to pass that id from our component, right, while using that component. So let me go to the top. Over here, while using the component, we need to pass id. Let's pass this as others, and okay, fine. Let me refresh it, and it is not giving the error. But here this is not working because we removed that JavaScript code to our component. So let's make this as a component, right? For that, let me copy this one and then paste it over here. Let's edit it. This is called members, right? Here we see the select options. So instead of select options, let's do select members. Here we can pass the placeholder as props. So let's do placeholder equals to select members. Okay, now we see it. If we select these items, it will not work. Let me do select date, select time, click on save, and we still see members, right? So let's fix this as well. So let me go back to select2 components. We see members because over here we are setting the state.members only. We need to make this dynamic as well. So how we can make this dynamic? To make this dynamic, let's go back to create appointment form, and let's pass wire model from here. Let's do wire model and then state.members. Let me go back to the component and let me show you die and DOM attributes. If I die and DOM the attributes, then you will get every attributes like wire model, and if I pass another attributes like fake here, and we will get those attributes, right? So let me go back to over here, and to get the attributes value, like we need to get state.members over here, right? So to get the attributes, we can simply do attributes where starts with wire model, right? Now let me refresh the page, and you get that value wire model, and we need to get this value. So to get that value, we can simply call the first method over there. So let me refresh it, and we get that value called state.members, which is perfect. And we can use that code. Let me copy this over here, right? Now let me delete this. Okay, fine. But this is not working, so let's fix that. Let's go to create appointment form, and over here let's do wire model means state.colors. Let me refresh it, and it is still not working. Let me inspect it and see on console, and it is giving syntax error. So let me go back to select2, and over here we need to wrap this with curly braces, right? Let me refresh it, and it is fixed. So now we can select this one, and let's choose the client, date, time, click on save, and we got these members and others as well with different items, right? And it is working perfectly fine, but still we have issue. So let me show you that. If we go to profile page, and if I click on view page source, we see that here we have select2 as well, because if we don't need on those pages, then we don't need select2 as well, right? So let's fix that as well. And if I view page source on this index page as well, we see this, and then we see related to JavaScript as well here, right? So to fix that, let me go to app.blend.php file, and over here we are using select2 for JavaScript, Let me remove it from here and go back to the component, and we can push this from here. Let me do the same for CSS as well. For CSS, let me go to the top and let me remove this from here, and let me go to the component, and we can push to the stack called styles, right? Let me go back and let me add this tag over here. Let's indent it. Okay, fine. So let me save this, and then let me refresh this page. Let me refresh this page as well. And if I search for select2, then we don't see that select2 because we are not using that component, right? Which is perfect. And then if we go to profile page as well, we are not using select2 over here as well, and we don't see select2 here as well, which is perfect. Let me show you another issue. Or let me go to add new appointments, and over here let me do page source, and let me do search for select2. Okay, so over here we are using select2 two times. We don't need to do that, right? We just need to make this available only once. So to fix this issue, there is a directive called once, so that we can push to that stack only once, right? This is getting duplicated because here we are using that component two times, and while using the components we are pushing these styles to this stack, and every time we create the components we are just pushing that. So we don't want to do that, we just want to push this once. So there is a directive called once, and you can end once. Okay, so if we do this and then let me refresh the page, and it got pushed only once, which is perfect. So let me go back. Let me do the same for JavaScript as well, but here we just want to push this one only once, but for initialization we want to initialize every time the component is created. So let's do that. We want to push only once, and once, let me paste this and then push to the stack of JavaScript, and push. Let me remove this from here, and let me put this on a single line. Okay, fine. So first of all, let me show you over here. Let me go to the bottom, and previously here we are using this two times, but if I refresh the page and we see this only once. Okay, but for initialization we need to initialize this twice, which is fine. So let me refresh it. Let me try one more time with these options, but it is saying the property $not found, right? So we need to fix this as well. So let me go to the component, and over here because of indentations it got missed. So let me save this and then try one more time. Yes, it is working. Okay, let me select date, time, click on save, and everything is working perfectly fine. So finally, what if we want to use this component on our profile, right over here? So let me show you how easy it is. So to do that, let me go to update profile.blade.php file. So let me copy this, paste it, and let me remove this for now, and we can simply use that component. For that, let me copy it from here and paste it over here, and then it is already added over here, right? And this is currently saying that property state not found because we haven't created that property. So to show you, let me create that property. We go to update profile, public state as empty array. We refresh it, and let me select this one, and we see this weird issue. So let's fix that as well, because here we were not using wire ignore. So instead of using wire ignore over here, why not add that on our component itself? So let's do that. Let me go to select2 and go to the top, and over here let me grab this with the div and paste it here, and on this div we can do wire ignore, right? And if I refresh the page, and it is working now. See how easy this is. And on our appointments as well, let me remove wire ignore from there as well. Let me go to create appointment form, and here we are using wire ignore. We don't need this because we are adding that on our component itself. Let me refresh it, and let me select this, and it is working. So this much for this video. I hope you learned something from this video. So don't forget to like, share and subscribe to this channel, as I will be uploading the videos like this. Till then, have a great time, and I will see you on the next one.